You know that feeling when you're going through your day but your mind is somewhere else, replaying a conversation, worrying about tomorrow, or scrolling through your phone while life happens right in front of you. And maybe you've heard that meditation is the answer, but sitting still for 10 minutes feels impossible or just not your thing. So today I want to talk about a different way to feel more present in your daily life, without needing to meditate at all. This matters because most of us spend our days on autopilot, missing the small moments that actually make life feel rich and real. When you start practicing this one shift, you might notice that ordinary activities, like washing dishes, walking to your car, or listening to a friend, begin to feel more grounded and less rushed. The key is understanding that presence isn't about forcing your mind to go blank. It's about gently anchoring your attention to something simple that's already there. In this video, I'll walk you through this approach step by step, keeping it practical and calm so you can try it right away. So let's start with the first thing you can do the next time you feel your mind drifting away. When I talk about feeling present in daily life, I mean that quiet sense of actually being where you are right now. It is not about sitting cross-legged on a cushion or repeating a mantra in your head. It is the experience of washing your hands and noticing the warm water instead of thinking about tomorrow's to-do list. You might feel it while you wait for your coffee to brew or while you listen to a friend without planning your reply. A lot of people assume presence has to look a certain way, but it is actually much simpler and more ordinary than that. The relief here is that you do not need any special equipment, extra time, or a completely quiet room to feel it. All it asks is that you shift your attention gently to whatever is already happening. This is not some mystical state reserved for monks, and that is exactly why it can fit into any normal day. Feeling present matters because it changes how you experience the hours of your life from the inside. When you are present, your mind stops racing through worries about the past or the future, which lowers your background stress. It also helps you actually notice the small good things that happen each day, like sunlight on your hand or a kind word from someone. Studies in psychology show that a wandering mind is often an unhappy one, and bringing your attention back to the present can improve your mood without any complicated technique. But here's the catch. Most people think they have to fix their whole life before they can feel peaceful, when really peace starts with simple presence. The benefit is that you do not have to change your schedule or add another task to feel better. You just have to be where you already are. Even a few moments of genuine presence each day can make your afternoon feel fuller and less rushed. Once you see how much this matters, the next step is to recognize what is quietly pulling you away from it every single day. When presence is missing from daily life, you move through your hours on autopilot without really noticing anything. You eat lunch while scrolling on your phone, and when the plate is empty, you barely remember tasting the food. You drive home from work and realize you cannot remember the last 5 miles of the road. Conversations with loved ones become background noise because your mind is already somewhere else, planning or worrying. The truth is that this is not a sign that you are broken or lazy. It is a very normal habit that almost everyone falls into. The downside is that you miss out on the texture of your own life, the small details that make a Tuesday afternoon feel real and alive. You might feel tired even after a quiet day because your brain never stopped jumping from thought to thought without your permission. Recognizing this pattern is not meant to make you feel bad, but to show you clearly why a change is worth your attention. If this idea of being present without meditating feels helpful, take a moment to like this video. It tells the algorithm that more people could use this kind of gentle reminder. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What small step from today do you want to try? Maybe it's pausing to feel your breath or noticing the warmth of your coffee. Sharing your thoughts helps us all learn from each other. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next video. Every like and comment really helps this community grow. Thanks for being here, and keep watching for more simple ways to feel more present. The habits that block presence are usually the ones we think are helping us be productive or stay connected. Checking your phone during every pause, switching between tasks constantly, and rushing through one activity to get to the next all pull you away from the now. Another big one is the belief that you need to be thinking all the time to solve problems, when in reality many problems become clear once you stop wrestling with them mentally. For example, if you are standing in line at the grocery store and you pull out your phone immediately, you miss the chance to simply stand there and feel your own breathing. The misunderstanding here is that these habits are just harmless ways to fill time, but they actually train your brain to always seek the next distraction. The relief is that you do not have to quit these habits cold turkey. You just need to start noticing when they take over. Once you see the habit clearly, it loses some of its power over you, and you can choose something different. That choice begins with a shift in how you think about presence itself, which is what we will look at next. The first mindset shift is to stop treating presence as something you have to achieve perfectly and start treating it as something you can return to gently again and again. You will never be present all the time, and trying to force that will only make you feel frustrated and inadequate. Instead, think of presence like a soft muscle you are gently reminding to wake up, not a test you have to pass. When your mind wanders, which it will, you do not need to scold yourself or start over from square one. The common trap is believing that if you cannot stay present for 10 minutes, it is not worth trying at all. But that is exactly the wrong idea. The insight here is that each time you notice you have drifted and come back, you are actually strengthening your ability to be present. so you can drop the pressure and let presence be a friendly, forgiving practice instead of a rigid rule. Once you have that mindset in place, the next step is to take one simple action that fits right into your existing day. The first practical step is to choose one everyday action and decide that for just its first few seconds you will pay full attention to it. It could be the moment you open a door, the first sip of the drink, or the instant you turn a key in a lock. You do not need to do this for the whole action, just the first 3 seconds can be enough to bring you back into your body and out of your head. For example, when you wake up and your feet touch the floor in the morning, pause and feel the texture under your soles for one slow breath. The realistic truth is that some days you will forget to do this, and that is completely okay because you can always try again the next moment. The benefit of this step is that it is tiny, takes no extra time, and immediately gives you a taste of what presence feels like without any pressure. Pick one anchor moment today and simply commit to noticing it once, then let it go. From this small beginning, you can gradually expand into more moments, and that is exactly what we will talk about next. So what does feeling present actually look like when you are just going about your normal day? It is not about walking around with a peaceful smile or staring at a tree for 10 minutes. It is the small moments when you notice what is right in front of you without your mind racing ahead. For example, when you are washing your hands and you actually feel the warm water and the soap on your skin for a few seconds, or when you are waiting for a coffee and you look around the room instead of pulling out your phone immediately. These little pauses do not stop your productivity, they just bring you back into your own experience. The real shift happens when you start catching yourself more often throughout the day. And once you see how simple it can be, the next step is finding a small daily habit that reinforces it. A really simple practice that many people overlook is the conscious transition between activities. That just means taking a few seconds to reset before you move from one thing to the next. When you finish a task, instead of rushing straight into the next one, just pause and take one slow breath. Notice how your body feels and what you are about to do next, even if it is just opening an email or walking into another room. This tiny habit costs almost no time, but it trains your brain to stop autopilot from taking over. You will find that the day feels less like a blur and more like a series of manageable moments. Try it for just 3 transitions tomorrow, like after breakfast, before starting work, and after lunch. But let us be honest, most people try something like this and then fall into a common mistake that derails them. If you're looking for more gentle ways to bring presence into your daily life, there's a place you can turn to. Over at www.happylifetribe.com, you'll find practical ideas that fit right into your routine. No pressure, no long lists, just small, encouraging steps to help you feel more grounded. The site is filled with calm living inspiration and mindful lifestyle guidance for anyone trying to build a happier, more intentional day. You can explore articles, reflections, and tools that support the kind of real-life presence we talked about today. It's all created with the same warm, supportive tone you hear here. Think of it as a quiet space to come back to whenever you need a little reset. Feel free to stop by anytime. It's there for you. The most common mistake is treating presence like another task to check off, or like you have to do it perfectly all day. People will try to stay present every single second and then feel like a failure when their mind wanders after 2 minutes. That frustration actually makes you less present because now you are judging yourself instead of just noticing. The truth is that your mind will wander hundreds of times a day, and that is completely normal. The goal is not to stop your thoughts. It is to gently notice when you have drifted and come back without criticism. If you get angry at yourself for getting distracted, you are just adding more noise to your head. Instead, treat each return to the present as a small win, no matter how many times it happens. Once you drop the need for perfection, it becomes much easier to make this feel realistic in your real life. To make this feel realistic, you have to shrink it down until it feels almost too easy. Do not try to be present for an hour. Aim for just one present moment per hour, or even one per morning. You can tie it to something you already do, like the first sip of water or opening your front door. That way you are not adding a whole new routine, you are just adding a tiny awareness on top of something you already do. Another way is to choose just one physical sensation you will pay attention to during a routine task, like the feel of your feet on the floor when you walk. When you keep the bar low, you actually do it more often, and that builds momentum naturally. You will start to notice the presence does not require your full attention, just a small slice of it. As this gets easier, you'll begin to feel the emotional shifts that come from being a little more grounded throughout the day. When you start practicing presence more regularly, you might notice that your mind feels a bit quieter, even if the thoughts are still there. The biggest emotional change is that you stop living in anticipation of the next thing all the time. You spend less energy worrying about what could happen later or replaying what already happened. That frees up mental space for you to actually feel your own emotions as they are, instead of pushing them away. You might also find that you feel more patient with people because you are not rushing past them in your head. Small pleasures, like sunlight on your arm or a friend's laugh, start to register more deeply. It is not that your problems disappear, but they feel less overwhelming when you are not constantly tangled in them. Once you get a taste of that relief, the next question is how to keep it going when life inevitably gets busy again. When life gets hectic, your first instinct will be to drop everything that feels optional, including this practice. But that is exactly when presence can help you the most, because it slows down the chaos in your head. The trick is to not abandon it entirely, but to shrink it even further so it feels impossible to skip. On your busiest day, just commit to one single moment of awareness, one breath, one glance out the window, 1 second of noticing your hands. You can also use stress itself as a trigger whenever you feel rushed or overwhelmed. That is a perfect signal to pause for just one breath. Remember that even a 1 second reset counts, and it keeps the habit alive until things calm down again. Over time, this will become so automatic that busy days will feel less like a storm and more like a steady flow. Now let us talk about what happens when you stick with this long enough and how your relationship with daily life starts to change in a deeper way. Over time, this shift stops feeling like something you have to remember and starts feeling like a natural part of how you move through your day. What used to take effort slowly becomes your default way of being present with whatever is in front of you. You might notice that you finish tasks with less mental clutter because you stayed with each step instead of rushing ahead. Conversations feel more connected because you are actually listening instead of planning what to say next. This does not mean every moment becomes perfect or deeply meaningful, because some days are still just ordinary. But the ordinary moments start to feel more real and less like background noise you are trying to get through. The biggest change you notice is that life feels slower and fuller without you having to change your schedule at all. This is the point where the practice starts to work for you rather than you always working for the practice. You don't have to figure out this whole presence thing on your own. When you join the Happy Life Tribe community, you're part of something bigger, a group of people who also want to live with more peace and intention. We share our experiences, encourage each other, and remind one another that small steps really do add up. If that sounds like the kind of support you'd like, consider subscribing to the channel and visiting www.happylifetribe.com. There, you can connect with others who are trying to feel more present, grateful, and emotionally balanced. It's a welcoming space where no one is rushing or judging. You'll find encouragement, simple ideas, and a sense of belonging that makes the journey feel lighter. I'd love to have you with us. It's a gentle community, and you're always welcome here. Even after weeks of feeling more present, there will still be days where your mind feels scattered and hard to settle. You might catch yourself halfway through a task realizing you were mentally somewhere else the whole time. This is not a sign that you are failing or losing progress, because this is just how human brains work. Stressful mornings, unexpected news, or even lack of sleep can pull your attention away no matter how much you have practiced. The trap here is thinking you have to restart from zero every time you slip back into autopilot. But the truth is that every time you notice you drifted, you are already back, and that counts as a win. The goal was never to be perfectly present all the time, only to keep coming back when you wander. Setbacks are not proof this does not work. They are just part of the natural rhythm of staying present. When you catch yourself slipping back into distraction and hurry, the best move is to stop and take one slow breath without judging yourself. That single pause is enough to break the cycle and bring your attention back to the present moment. Then just pick one small thing right in front of you, like the weight of your coffee cup or the feel of your feet on the floor. Do not try to fix the whole day or make up for lost time by being extra mindful for the next hour. That pressure only makes the recovery feel like a chore and pushes your mind further away. I have to see. Instead, gently bring your focus back to what you are doing right now and let the past moments go. You will be surprised how quickly your mind settles once you stop fighting the fact that it wandered. The recovery is always simpler than you think, as long as you do not turn it into a punishment. This approach to feeling more present helps anyone who feels constantly behind, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their own life. It helps people who have tried meditation but felt it was too rigid or time-consuming for their lifestyle. It also helps those who spend long hours at work, caring for others, or managing a busy household and crave more calm. If you have ever felt like you were just going through the motions without really experiencing your day, this is for you. Even people who seem put together on the outside often feel mentally scattered inside and benefit from simple presence. The reason it helps so many is that it does not ask you to add anything extra to your already full schedule. Instead, it shows you how to use the moments you already have in a way that feels more grounded and real. This topic is not limited to a certain personality type because everyone can learn to be more present in their own way. To start feeling more present today, pick one routine action you already do every day, like washing your hands or unlocking your front door. Decide that for the next week, you will do that one action with your full attention, noticing every physical sensation and detail. Do not try to add any new habits or extra steps to your day, because this is about deepening what is already there. When your mind wanders during that action, which it will, just bring it back without frustration and continue noticing. After a few days, you can choose a second routine action and apply the same attention to both of them. That is your entire action plan for this week. No apps, no timers, no special setup required. The simplicity of this is what makes it work, because you are not relying on motivation or willpower to start. Once you see how natural this feels, you will likely find yourself doing it with more actions without even planning to. This shift toward feeling more present is not about becoming a different person or achieving some perfect state of calm. It is about reclaiming the moments you are already living so they stop passing you by unnoticed. The small moments you practice with today will slowly build into a life that feels less rushed and more like yours. You do not need to be good at this. You just need to be willing to keep showing up gently. Some days you will feel fully present, and other days your mind will race, and both are okay. What matters is that you keep returning to this simple idea of paying attention to what is here right now. Over time, this one practice will change how you experience everything without changing anything on the outside. You already have everything you need to start, and your life is already full of moments worth being present for. As we wrap up, I hope you feel a little more ready to bring presence into your day without adding another task to your list. The small steps we talked about today are simple enough to try anytime, even when life feels busy. You don't need to do them perfectly, just a little practice can make a real difference. If this video helped you, please give it a like and subscribe to Happy Life Tribe for more gentle guidance. For extra encouragement and practical ideas, you can visit our online community at www.happylifetribe.com. There you'll find support, calm living inspiration, and mindful lifestyle tips to help you along the way. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope you carry a little more ease into the rest of your day. Until next time, take it one small moment at a time.